I say it before we get into the jerk list each and every week because sometimes people get a little raw about finding their name on the jerk list. And that's why I have to remind you, ultimately, at the end of the day, I didn't put you on the jerk list. You put you on the jerk list. Let it begin! All right, first up here. I've been talking about it all week long. The marathon. I don't know how marathons go in other cities, but here in Los Angeles, the streets get blocked up and you can't get anywhere. You go out, you forget about it. You're not thinking about the marathon because you're not running it. And why should it be on your brain? The vast majority of our population doesn't run the marathon, so of course it wouldn't cross our mind that the marathon's going to be blocking up our streets and not allowing us to get anywhere. I jump in the car on Sunday to go out for a little breakfast with my lovely bride, Miss Cindy, and little baby Oprah in tow. And I find we can't get to our favorite breakfast joint because the streets are all blocked off so that 46-year-old housewives with their 3 kids, I've been giving so much time to the kids and to my husband. I wanted to do something for me. So I joined a running group, and I've been working at it for 4 months, and I'm going to run the marathon. And as I've said, if that's what makes your sport is that anyone can do it as long as they go out and practice for a little bit, I would submit then that it's not a sport at all. You don't get to play in the same event. Now, I'm not begrudging the guys who can do it in a little over 2 hours. The world-class time, the guys who come over from Africa to win every year, fine. They are true athletes. But the people, you don't get to play and be considered competing in the same event as the world-class athletes. And until they start printing my statistics from 3-on-3 pickup basketball in the newspaper, I want to stop hearing about the old lady who ran it in 5 hours and 47 minutes. It's not an achievement that I need to be made aware of unless we're going to start allowing everyone to hear about how Dave Dameshek rained 4 threes in the pickup game to 21 to help his team to victory. Now, that aside, as if I wasn't offended by the inconvenience. And again, as I say, the marathon is the only example I can think of where the needs, the desires of a few, 20,000 people, 25,000 people ran this thing, outweigh the needs of the vast majority of the population. Our entire society is predicated on the greater good, on the majority opinion. Who decided that this is a good idea, that 20,000 people, lunatics, who have nothing better to do with themselves than go outside and run for 4 or 5 hours at a stretch, that what they want to do is more important than me getting around and everybody else? My streets are all blocked up. Everybody's blocked up. It's outrageous. It's the only example of this, and I think we need to do away with it ASAP. But as if that wasn't offensive enough, they broadcast it on local television, Channel 4, and take a listen to what the one guy covering it had to say.
Well, Ed, is it one of these matters where the Kenyans and Ethiopians, they see, let's be honest here, see a white guy out front, and they don't take him seriously?
Uh-oh. This is real time, unedited. Ed's not going to answer.
Well, here's a look at that breakaway.
Ed, is this because he's a white guy and the black guys are looking at him? Is that the example? Ed wisely decides not to weigh in at all. And so for these many reasons, coverage of the marathon, people who run in the marathon, marathons in general. I don't care what the origin is. A run from Athens to Marathon, 26.2 miles. All I know is the marathon, you're a jerk! All right, let's move on from that one. All right, another not-so-great moment in broadcasting that I've been talking about quite a bit the last couple of days. Sunday night, I'm watching a little weekly recap of the local sports scene by Channel 2's Jim Hill, and talking about Derek Lowe, the Dodgers ace, now entering his 4th season. He's played in this city where Jim Hill is a local sportscaster, and here's what he had to say about Derek Lowe.
Major League Baseball with the Dodgers and pitcher Derek Love, who's in the final year of his contract.
Derek Love, he calls him. Derek Love. What's a slip of the tongue, right?
Today, Love made his spring debut.
Nope, it's not. And here's the real crime in this. A solid reporter named A. Martinez has now gotten caught up in the snowball that is rolling downhill and got swept up. He was talking about UCLA's freshman star, Kevin Love, and yesterday in his update, and here's what he said.
Big man Kevin Lowe.
Kevin Lowe, and, well, listen, he's a pro. He got back on track today, right?
The UCLA Bruins can wrap up first place in the Pac-10 tomorrow when they take on second-place Stanford at Pauley Pavilion. Kevin Lowe has noticed students setting up...
See, like I say, I'm not indicting you. I'm blaming the person who started this ugly trend here. I'm talking about Jim Hill. Hey, some call him an institution here in Los Angeles. At least for right now, I got another word for you. Jerk! All right. Let's move along here. You know what? I'm getting heated up about this. Let's give the Get Out of Jerk free card. Get Out of Jerk free card, in case you're not familiar with it, it works basically the same way that the Get Out of Jail free card does in Monopoly. You fall into any jerky behavior down the line, so what? You play the Get Out of Jerk free card, even Steven with Dave Dameshek. No Han Solo Edition blaster shall touch the backside of your soul. So, anyway, this week, Al Davis. How about that? Oakland Raiders owner, Al Davis. And I don't know if you noticed, they signed Javon Walker to an absurd contract. How much exactly did they sign him to there, A. Martinez? $30-some-odd million. The guy has not had a decent season since he started ripping his knees up. He just hasn't been able to get on track. But no matter to Al Davis, apparently, he just keeps flushing money down the drain, making ridiculous move after ridiculous move. Now, maybe it's unfair because he's gotten a little daft in his old age. But why does he get the get-out-of-jerk free card? Because as a fan of another NFL team, it makes me feel good that at least my owner, at least my franchise, isn't run as poorly as Al Davis runs his. It's sort of like, for me as a Steeler fan, I know that the Steelers lost some players. We lost Alan Faneca, the great offensive lineman. San Diego Charger fans lost Michael Turner and Drayton Florence. But that's sad, but at least you can, at the end of the day, you say, well, at least we're not the Raiders wasting money on Javon Walker, and we don't hire a coach and then send him a letter of resignation like they did Lane Kiffin and say, sign here, so on and so forth. It's sort of like if you're a fan of another NFL team, it's like being one of the group of hot girls who always brings the fat girl out with them, just so by comparison you always look a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what the Raiders are to the rest of the NFL. And so for that, Al Davis, enjoy it. You get the Get Out of Jerk free card this week.
Did I ever tell you about the time I lived in a hollowed-out tree?
Yeah, there he is, the great Al Davis. He joined us on the show. We got to talk to him. I hope to catch up with him tomorrow or Friday to talk about what's going on.
My strawberry shake already. I'm a busy man.
Yeah, Al Davis. Anyway, so enjoy that, and you may not have your strawberry shake, but at least you'll get the Get Out Jerk free card. Now, moving on, great news. Coach Bob Knight. I went to Indiana University, and I interviewed him way back when I was a student there, and he taught me a lesson by taking the tape out of the tape recorder that we were recording the interview on and breaking it before my eyes, and then announcing that I needed to come back and try it again the next day. He made a man out of me. Anyway, the good news is he's now my colleague, officially my colleague at ESPN, and I guess I'm sure that once we get deep into March Madness, he's going to round into shape, but his first little run-through, they had a dress rehearsal, I guess, over there in Bristol yesterday, running through some college hoops talk, and I don't think it exactly worked out so well. Let's take a listen to that.
I'm tired of this. I'm sick and tired of an 8-10 record. I'm tired of losing to Purdue. I'm not here to around this week.
Oh.
Now, you may be, but I'm not.
All right, I mean, yeah. Jay Billis was humiliated, I think. And so, yeah, he wasn't happy with that kind of talk. But anyway, I'm sure they'll get that ship righted and on track by the time the tournament starts. So looking forward to that. All right, back to the jerks. All right, I brought this up a few days ago, and I think it's interesting. You know when you go to a buffet, and there's whether you're in Vegas, in a Vegas casino buffet, or if you ever go to Dodger Stadium, one of the great treats in all of sports is to have those great seats right behind home plate where you can go underneath and they have the spread of food under there. And at the end of all these buffets, there's always the guy, the chef, he's dressed up like a chef carving the roast beef. He carves the roast beef. And not coincidentally, he wears the chef's hat, not the floppy one. He wears the really tall one, the high hat. And it's no coincidence, because that's what he gives you every time you say, hey, can I get one more piece of beef? Can I get just one more slice there? Because they never give you enough. They give you like 1.5 pieces, and it looks good. So you want 2 pieces, and you say, hey, can I get one more? And the guy in the high hat always gives you the high hat, and he goes, all right. and he carves you one off, but he makes you feel an inch tall because you want one extra piece of meat there. And like I say, it's no coincidence that his hat is worn high to make you feel small, and that's why High Hat Roast Beef Cutter, you're a jerk!
I'm sick of getting the high hat.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, that brings us to the Creep of the Week. Crepe, crepe, crepe of the week, of the week. He or she is the creep of the week. All right, this week, actually just yesterday, free agency interrupted by the announcement that Brett Favre was hanging it up after a glorious 17-year run. Virtually everyone in the media treated it as though he had passed away. A national tragedy had arrived. We'll never see another Brett Favre. So on and so forth. Hyperbole as far as the eye can see, as long as the ear can hear. It just went on and on, the homage to the great Brett Favre, who shall go down as neither the greatest quarterback of all time, nor as a unique football player, as some would have you believe. By the way, this idea that he has great joy in playing the game, that this is what distinguishes him from everybody else, I don't know. I'm sure there are many examples. How about Hines Ward? We don't have to wait a few generations until we see another NFL player who enjoys playing the sport. Hines Ward is smiling all the time while he gives crackback blocks to his foes. There are a lot of examples of that. All right, let's just settle down. Brett Favre retired. I know John Madden is curled up in the fetal position, sobbing uncontrollably right now. But the rest of us, let's get a hold of ourselves. And by the way, maybe the worst thing that happened as a result of this retirement is that it obscured the retirement of another guy named Warren Sapp. You may have heard of him. He was a dynamite college football player, had a marvelous, marvelous pro career. He won the same amount of Super Bowls, one as Brett Favre. He went to 2 fewer Pro Bowls than Brett Favre. He went to 7 Pro Bowls. He obviously helped define that Buccaneers defense that was so great over a long run there under Tony Dungy. And he went to the Raiders and finished out his career and had a decent year last year. And anyway, no one's even acknowledging it. Plus, he was like I say, he was the foe. He was the rival. Remember the battles out at Lambeau Field, those two getting up and jawing at each other? How did it not come up from anybody that Warren Sapp retired? It's terrible. Brett Favre, everybody's waxing about you. What a grizzled gunslinger.
Grizzled gunslinger.
The grizzled gunslinger is no more. Well, guess what, Brett Favre? You may be a grizzled gunslinger, and you're certainly a future first ballot Hall of Famer. But this week, you're the creep of the week.
The Jerk List with Dave Dameshek reporting. Until next time, don't be a jerk.
All right. And also, by the way, I forgot to add Joyless Joey for his many misdeeds over the past week, including his atrocious hip-hop song, for saying that the Lakers were exposed because they didn't win at Sacramento by enough points in his judgment, so on and so forth. Joyless Joe, I forgot. Late edition. Jerk!